てしまう Verb in the て form plus しまう has two main uses to express the completion of an action and an unfavorable or unintended outcome. 今日中にレポートを書いてしまう I will finish writing the report today. お皿を割ってしまった I broke the plate. This てしまった implies that the speaker views this outcome as unfavorable or regrettable. So it's like, I accidentally broke the plate. I unfortunately broke the plate. てしまう is the plain form. Because しまう conjugates the same way as group 1 verbs. The polite form is てしまいます. There's also a shorter version. てしま contracts to ちゃ. So 書いてしまう, for example, becomes 書いちゃう. And as you already know, some verbs that form ends with で, like 飲む, drink. The て form is 飲んでしまう. And でしま contracts to ちゃ飲んじゃう. So てしまいます becomes ちゃいます。でしまいます becomes ちゃいます。てしまう becomes ちゃう。And でしまう becomes ちゃう。In formal settings, you should use these uncontracted forms. But in everyday conversation, these contracted forms are more common. So in everyday conversation, more commonly, レポートを書いちゃう。お皿を割っちゃった。The completion of an action. The core function of てしまう is to indicate the completion of an action. An action has been completely finished. It emphasizes that the action is 100% done, not partially done, but it's all the way finished. 今日中にレポートを書く. I will write the report today. This doesn't clearly specify if I will finish writing the report today. 今日中にレポートを書いちゃう or 書いてしまう. Now it clearly specifies that I will finish writing the report. I will complete it. 冷蔵庫の卵を使った. I used the eggs in the fridge. 冷蔵庫の卵を使っちゃった or 使ってしまった. I used up the eggs in the fridge. I used up all the eggs in the fridge. これ食べてください. Please eat this. If you want the other person to eat the whole thing, you can say これ食べちゃってください. Or これ食べてしまってください. Please eat this all. By the way, like I said, しまう and also its contracted form are group 1 verbs. So it conjugates the same way as other group 1 verbs. So the て forms are しまって or ちゃって or ちゃって. We also use てしまう to emphasize the completion of action when the action is something we must do sooner or later. For example, doing homework. Let's say you have homework that's due by the end of today. So you have to do it at some point today, sooner or later. In a situation like this, using てしまう is really common. 晩ご飯の前に宿題をする. I will do my homework before dinner. 晩ご飯の前に宿題をしちゃう. 宿題をしちゃう or してしまう. I will get it done before dinner. It has the nuance of I will get it done. お風呂に入って Please take a shower. For me, I take a shower before going to bed every night. So growing up, almost every night, my mom would say to me, 早くお風呂に入っちゃって。お風呂に入っちゃって. It's like, come on, take a shower and get it over with. You have to do it sooner or later, so get it done. Kind of like that. An unfavorable outcome. Another really common usage of the てしまう is when something unfavorable or unintended happens. お皿を割った. I broke the plate. By saying お皿を割っちゃった or 割ってしまった, you can express your shock, regret, and sadness about this event. It's like I accidentally or I unfortunately broke the plate. Why does it mean that? I guess it's because てしまう emphasizes that an action is completely done, and it can have the nuance of what's done is done. It cannot be undone. So by highlighting that, it kind of implies that the speaker wishes it hadn't happened, if that makes any sense. But anyway, the important thing here is you can use てしまう whenever something bad happens. This usage of てしまう is so common. So common that we almost always use てしまう when something unfavorable happens. It's especially common when we apologize for something we did. ごめんなさい。お皿を割っちゃいました。If you want to apologize in a more formal way, you should say 割ってしまいました。ごめんなさい。お皿を割りました is also grammatically correct, but it sounds less apologetic. This one is like simply saying, I'm sorry I broke your plate. But this てしまう version is like, I'm sorry, I did something really bad. I broke your plate. Kind of like that. It sounds more apologetic and expresses that you feel bad about it. 私の彼氏はアメリカに帰った。My boyfriend went back to America. If you feel sad about your long-distance boyfriend leaving, you should say, 彼氏はアメリカに帰っちゃいました。or 帰ってしまいました to express your sadness. You can also use this てしまう for something that hasn't happened yet, but is feared to happen. この電車に乗り遅れたら会議に遅刻する。If I miss this train, I'll be late for the meeting. Being late for the meeting is something unfavorable. So you can say 会議に遅刻しちゃう to express that you want to avoid it. You can also use this てしまう when something bad happens to someone else. For example, when you see a kid fall over, you can say, あ、子供が転んじゃった。This shows that you feel sorry or concerned for the child. It's also commonly used to give a warning. 勉強しないと試験に落ちちゃうよ。If you don't study, you will fail the exam. If you don't study, something bad happens. So you better study hard. How can I tell if it means usage number 1 or number 2? That's a great question. The answer is, you can't really tell for sure. You just have to guess from the context. Even for us native speakers, it can be hard to know which meaning the speaker intended. This is especially true when it's in the past tense. For example, チョコレートを食べちゃった. This could mean I finished eating the chocolate, or I ate the chocolate and I regret it. Or even both at the same time. I ate all the chocolate and now I regret it. It totally depends on the context. I'd say usage number 2 is more common than usage number 1, especially in the past tense. So if I want to make sure the listener understands that I mean usage number 1 and not usage number 2, I wouldn't use てしまう. I would say in a different way to avoid confusion. For example, チョコレートを全部食べた. I ate all of the chocolate. Or チョコレートを全部食べきった. チョコレートを全部食べ終わった. I finished eating all of the chocolate. So again, てしまう for this usage is very common. especially in the past tense. So if you don't want your sentence to have that nuance at all, then it's safer to avoid using てしまう and find another way to say it, like in these examples. Advanced usage. Because てしまう is used for an outcome that's unfavorable, you can use it to mean something like, I know it's going to be bad, but I'm going to do it anyway. Or, I know I shouldn't do this, but what the heck, I'm going to do it. For example, if someone asks you, are you going to drink tonight? And you can say, 今夜はもうたくさん飲んじゃう. I would drink a lot tonight. It's like, I know I shouldn't drink too much because I'm going to regret it. But screw it, I'm going to do it anyway. It's also often used with the volitional form. 飲んじゃおう。飲んじゃおう。今日はたくさん飲んじゃおう。Which emphasizes the speaker's intention. It roughly translates to I intend to. But we'll learn more about this in lesson 31. Alright, that's all for today. 今日も僕のビデオを見てくれて本当にありがとうございました。皆さんのサポートいつも本当にありがとうございます。じゃあまた次のビデオで会いましょう。じゃあまたね。バイバイ。